Hello everybody and welcome back to the Compulsive Survival Builder. This is part 2 of my comprehensive modding walkthrough on console. I'm specifically working on a PS4 Pro, which is why I have a fresh install of game, and in the last video I went through downloading Creation Club content, downloading mods, and your load order, and in this video I'm going to go through when to enable your mods, starting at the very beginning of the game with character creation, all the way through accessing your workbench and chembench mods specifically because they're kind of touch and go, especially on the PS4. I've left links in the description to my load order framework, which if you're not going to use the mods that I'm using, you can pick whatever mods you want, just put them in the order that the framework says they're supposed to go in, and then just try to kind of take cues from how I'm enabling them as to what you should enable based on your mods. Now, right at the beginning of the game, there's very few mods that you can load pre-character creation. So we're just going to do just a small few. One of them's the patch. You can do the patch. That's fine. And then immersive gameplay. I enable this one right at the beginning because it affects your special stats right at the beginning of the game. So you want to have that. I also do this because it's just about movement. And we're going to be doing some movement at the beginning of the game. None of this stuff needs to be enabled right away. Specifically, do not enable anything. There's a few sort of steps. Nothing that adds items to your inventory. NPC's Travel does exactly that. And it says in the description that it does. But you may need to kind of educate yourself on which mods add things to your inventory and which ones don't. But if they add things to your inventory, you have to wait until you get your Pip-Boy, otherwise that just messes up. So, and then really nothing that you're gonna not encounter right away, you don't have to enable. Except there's a couple things that I do want to enable, because if you don't enable them right at the beginning of the game, at least with the mods that I'm using, then they don't work. So, none of these. Oh, the zombie walkers. So we want to replace the creatures and we want to have our zombie walkers. So you got to do this if you want the zombies to show up in Vault 111 when you first wake up from the cryo sleep. Then you need to enable them before you even make your character. At least those two. There's no super mutants, so you can wait on that one. But if you want to replace creatures like specifically the rad roaches, which do show up in Vault 111, then you need that one, and then you need that one so that they'll act right. The rest of this stuff can be done after you wake up. I'm going to do reverb and ambience because I want to be able to adjust those settings right away. We're not going to have any weather, none of that stuff. The rest of this stuff, most of the rest of this stuff can be enabled later. Definitely no chembench mods. Those are like the last things you enable. Don't do immersive looting. It will glitch your entrance into the vault and kill you before you even get into the cryo chamber. You'll fall down the shaft and die. Yay. You can do vault looter. I'm going to do vault looter because there's a shipment in the vault and I want to make sure it's there when I wake up. And I believe the rest of this is, yeah. Okay, so just a small handful before character creation. Also, I'm starting on my mod screen this time because I got dinged with using copyrighted music because the Fallout 4 theme song is copyrighted. So I'm going to fast forward through the main menu whenever the main menu comes up to avoid that problem. on this video. And I'm going to be doing a lot of fast forwarding through as well, because this isn't really like a let's play, and we're not going to kind of immerse ourselves in the world. I'm going to skip some parts. But anyway, this is all we're loading. What is it? 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. I think 7. Yeah, 7. 7 mods. That's it for character creation. Now, if you're playing on survival mode like me, your game will still autosave at several points during the beginning of the game, and we're going to use those autosaves to periodically enable more mods when it's appropriate. So anyway, this is good. I'm going to fast forward through the opening sequence, and we'll pick up at character creation. Okay, so we got through that. We've got certain mods enabled. I'm going to cut here and do my character, because I do intend to play this playthrough. And you're not even going to notice. Okay, I got my character done. This is what he looks like. It looks a little like me, only a little more handsome and muscular and thinner. Haha, because you know what? It's a game. And that's how this works, right? So we'll say done, confirm. Now I'm going to kind of cruise through the storyline here until we get to the special stats section. Okay, now we're to the special stats. My name is Jake. But it's also cool because if you enter generic names like this into this game, some of them actually have voiceover options. So like Codsworth calls me Jake. I always found that really neat. Anyway, to move on, the reason I wanted to show this part is because my immersive Fallout mod changes your special attributes. It gives you a little bump to all of them. So you start a little more powerful than you did originally. But it also changes the perks around. So if you're going to use immersive Fallout, you should investigate what perks you want, especially if you're like used to setting up your special stats a certain way because of certain perks that you like. Immersive Fallout changes all the perks. So, for instance, if you like getting science, it now takes intelligence 8 to get science instead of intelligence 6 in the original one. They've rearranged them. A lot of them are harder to get, a lot harder to get. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you that you do kind of get a boost from this. This is how I like to set up my character. And then from here, we're going to basically fast forward until we're waking up in the vault, which is the next step. Okay, so right here is where you get your first usable autosave. It just autosaved as soon as I got out of the cryo chamber. So we are going to quit here, quit the game, and go load more mods. Now I'm going to fast forward through the part with the main menu for the reasons that I stated before. But we'll pick it right back up when I get into the mod menu. Okay, so now we can do a few more. You can do basic restructuring things as long as they don't add things to your inventory and they don't have to do with manufacturing or workbenches at all. So integrated Commonwealth is fine. That's manufacturing overhauled. We don't want to do that yet. We're not gonna be scrapping any weapons for a while, so we don't need that one. Junk is junk we want. I want those sorted right. We don't need any interiors because we're not going there yet. Don't want to add that because it adds to our inventory. We're not going to encounter any of that. Let's see. We're not going to do transdogrify. We can do like tweaks and things like of that nature. That's building, building, building. All this is workbench mods. We don't need that. We're not going to see Preston for a while. We're not going to have any fusion cores or jetpacks. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that one. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that. That has to do with the workbench, but I don't think it's like that. But we can wait anyway. It's not like we're going to go right into Nuka World. We're not going to see dog meat right away. We can add the other zombie mods at this point. We do want like our death physics and things like that. If you're doing that, you can go ahead and do those. I'm going to do corpse collisions too. We're not going to have anything respawn yet, so we don't need that. I'll mute the perks. We're not going to have any weather for a little bit yet. We can do performance stuff. Sure, no more twigs, insignificant object. We do want that because it affects the vault here. We don't have the Pip-Boy yet, so that doesn't matter. We don't need maximum encounters yet. No targeting HUDs. First person animation tweaks, I want that one because I'm going to be playing in first person. Don't need the bandolier. Definitely no chem bench mods, which is all these. They're all grouped together in this little section. Not going to be doing any weapon mod. I want to turn on immersive looting now because we're already in the vault and there's stuff in the vault that it makes it like the traffic cones you can pick up and get plastic or rubber or something off of them. We're not going to be doing the sanctuary bridge or the underground railroad. Not going to be doing any scopes. Yeah, we can do that. And I want to do my time scale. We don't need UCO yet. Okay, so a few more, just mainly like gameplay changes, stuff that doesn't have to do with workbench mods or manufacturing or building anything. Definitely nothing that adds to your inventory right off the bat. Definitely no chem bench mods. So yeah, so we've added a few more, and then I'm gonna get out of this and zip through back to where I loaded, or back to where we saved and exited out, and we'll continue on. Okay, so we are back awake in the vault.
Come on, come on, come on! Oh, God!
Cryogenic array. Multi-residents
I'll find who did this, and I'll get Sean back. I promise.
And there's a few mods that take effect in here that I have loaded anyway. I don't know what you got, but I'm just gonna collect some junk here. Because I'm a junker. I try not to download mods that I feel like are... Well, I mean, they may or may not be cheating because they add stuff to the world, but I try to do it immersively whenever possible. So I don't do shipment mods where you get like a whole, like more than a few. I try to make it fair, I guess, but still kind of an advantage because I've also made everything harder. So that combined with everything, I think it kind of evens out. But so yeah, we're gonna pick up all this stuff. I'm playing on survival mode, so I'm going to fill up the water bottles too, or the beer bottles, that is, because I need some water for the game. Basically, I'm just going to pick up everything, but then we will move on. This is a feature for survival mode because you need to drink water in survival mode. So they added this ability to fill up the bottles with purified water. So that's kind of neat. Okay, so I'm going to sneak through here. Now the zombie mod doesn't replace these rad roaches because with zombies because you don't have a pistol yet. So there's still a few bugs in the game and creatures and things like that, specifically the really powerful ones like Mylar Queens and
giant
and things like that.
roaches? What the hell?
But most everything else is turned into zombies. So, or at least in the way I play. I'm gonna be taking just about everything. Did I get dead yet? Yeah, okay. Check. Clipboard. Okay, so another one of the mods. Yeah, that level 10, that's part of immersive Fallout 2. You immediately up to level 10, so that XP thing's going to be there for a little while. But this, over here, is my Vault Looter mod. Aha! Oh, we got another new Vault 81 jumpsuit. Yeah, see, so I have Vault Looter Hard, which means these will never respawn. And the armor and weapon stuff is, like, rare that you get anything good. So I really just wanted to like have these resources right at the beginning. I'm gonna be over encumbered here for a minute, but we can deal. Just because I don't want to have to go back and do all this crap again. But yeah, that's one of the mods. That's a pretty cool mod. It immersively adds shipments to the vault so that you can find like resources and stuff, and sometimes there's weapons in there, sometimes there's not, but in any case, I'm just going to dump this stuff so we're not over encumbered this whole time. Yeah, and it's hurting me. Okay, let's put it all in here. Okay, now we're not over encumbered anymore. And a quick 10mm pistol. Which one do I want it to equip? Because auto. Do we want auto? Yeah, let's do auto. Because you can't switch between the weapons before you get your Pip-Boy. So my junk's in there. Now, the other thing is that since we're doing the zombie walkers, there's zombies right out through that door. So, I'm going to try and get through them as quick as possible. Ooh, bobby pin. Just going to use up ammo. I'm not going to try and play it safe or anything. And we'll get on to getting our Pip-Boy, which is the next step. But, you know, you can see the mods I'm using as well. Right through this door, there be zombies. Okay, I'm going to sneak. It's a good way to start, because these ones, their perception's really low. But boom! Zombies instead of red roaches, look at that. They see me, there's not much point in sneaking anymore. And like I said, I'm a junker. I need all the junk I can get. Whoa. Plus I'm a compulsive builder, like the channel says. So... Die! There. That last him? No, there's more. So I like to have a lot of resources because whenever the option... I love playing survival games. Oh. I guess the guys through the door just heard me. Anyway, I like playing survival games, but the reason I named the channel Compulsive Survival Builder is because I really have... If there's an option to, like, build your house or, like, build... Like, Fallout has the settlement building, and you can basically build a house for yourself. It has all that. So I get just completely wrapped up in that aspect. One more guy in there. Stuck or something? No, completely missed there. Okay. So, alright, used a lot of ammo, but whatever. Let me get these guys just to make sure I'm all set here. And loot this area real quick, just to get all this stuff together. Because like I said, I intend to play this playthrough. So sorry if you're just looking for the tutorial, but I'm taking care of some business here. Allow me that privilege. And also I'm going to grab all the stuff I left in here, and unfortunately that means I'm going to lumber down the hallway for a moment until we get our Pip-Boy, just so that we can move on smoothly. Yes. Okay. Alright. So, you see, this is working out pretty well. Like, it's still pretty immersive. Now, it does kind of break the immersion a little bit that you have to, like, quit and load and quit and load. But it's just the very beginning of the game. And unfortunately, that's just kind of how modding works. It's... if you want to save that autosave, like copy it to like a USB drive or put it on the cloud or something, so that your game doesn't just write over it, that would be a good idea, because that's a good spot to start from if you want to add like more mods to your game, or if you want to test other mods. Then having that save at the beginning is excellent. So now we're gonna grab our Pip-Boy. This is the next step, except that it doesn't actually save when you put on the Pip-Boy, but it does save when you open the vault. Now, this is kind of a key place. You want to exit after it saves, opening the vault, but then you don't want to leave the vault yet. So, because you want some of these mods to enable as soon as you get out of the vault. So this is where the rest of your mods come into play. So we don't need that. We do want to open the vault. This is going to be loud. So I'm just going to let it be loud and kind of quit talking.
Vault door cycling sequence initiated. Please stand back.
Okay, now look for that elevator to open its gate, and then as soon as you cross this threshold, you get an autosave. So I just want it to save when everything's all finished. So yeah, I think that's good. Boom, autosave. So now we're going to exit out again. I'm going to fast forward to the mod menu like I did just a minute ago. And then I know I mentioned the autosave and then I immediately got an exit save. Now, I don't play exit saves because they contribute to that 0 kilobyte save error. That's why I have that mod for saving your game. But anyway, we can do most everything. Sure. We can go ahead and do the interiors. That's fine. We can do NPCs travel now because that'll add to our Pip-Boy. Aliens is fine. Snipers. Sure. Tweaks. Oh, we already did that one. We don't want to do settlements extended or building or anything like that. Nothing that has to do with your workbench yet. We can do that. That's fine. Sure. I don't know. We don't need it right now. Companion's helper adds to your Pip-Boy, so now you can enable that. That affects dog meat. That's fine. Want to do that in case Trash Can Carla is nearby. We can do this. Cell respawn. That's fine. Weather, yes. Pip-Boy light's fine now. Maximum encounters is good. That has to do with building. I don't want to do that. We can do this one. That's fine. Sure. Why not? No chem bench mods, including saving. But that's why I get this mod, is because it allows you to do a regular save in survival mode on PS4. Now, I know there's a lot of mods on other systems that make it a lot easier, but this adds to your Pip-Boy. And it's a workaround for the PS4, which I'm on PS4, and you know, it's the most complicated one to work with, so I think it's really the one that people need this kind of stuff, this kind of video, the most, because it's the most complicated one to work with when it comes to modding. Sure. Now, these are all chem bench. They're the last thing you enable. So don't enable any of those until at like the very end. Sure, we can fix the sanctuary bridge. I want to save this one for later because I don't want. There's certain quests with the castle that require that the walls be down, so I don't want to mess with that until after I finish those quests. We can do Underground Railroad. Oh, no, this changes manufacturing. It says that we can do scrapping, that's fine. And we don't want to add UCO yet. Okay. So, alright. So now I will exit out of this and load the save back up, just like we did before. Okay, and as you can see, it's adding stuff to my inventory now. Those are the NPC things that it adds to your inventory. And I'm still over encumbered, I'm sorry. I'll drop some stuff in a box once we get upstairs. So, you just get on here. I don't need to change anything, so we're going to say finish, exit the vault.
Enjoy your return to the surface, and thank you for choosing Vault Tech.
Now, if you're enabling them the way I'm doing it, and you happen to get like a crash, don't panic, because, you know, getting a crash here or there, when you're enabling mods, it's kind of just par for the course. It's how it rolls, especially with Bethesda games. So, just don't panic. It'll be fine. If you get a crash, that doesn't mean you did something wrong. I'm gonna dump my junk. And I'm just gonna leave this here now that we're out of the vault. Because I can loot all this stuff when I'm not trying to hang out with you guys. So I don't want to use the gun though, because the zombies are attracted to sound. So I'm going to sneak in here. Cool over there. I want that 10mm ammo. Alright, so I'm going to equip the switchblade. Now the zombies I am going to loot right away because they disappear sometimes because there's so many of them. I added 1,100 zombies to the game. So yeah, on occasion they vanish. Like right away, right after you kill them. I'm going to go up here. We're going to kind of go in the back way, because the next thing we have to do is access the sanctuary workbench. Essentially the first workbench in the game, depending on how you play. But I mean, it was everybody's first. Gotcha. And one more guy over here. I just don't want to disturb too much. Who's sensing me now? He came all the way from over there? Jeez. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. This isn't one of my video playthroughs anyway, so I don't really care if I get mobbed, and Codsworth takes care of everybody because he's a zombie killing machine. Anyway, so you get here, search the workshop. Now you can use the workshop at Sanctuary. And you say, okay. You get out of there. Go. Now with my... Really, you just gotta find a place to sleep now. But with Immersive Fallout, there's a bunker under the bed in your house. Boom. Right there. So we go down there. Hubby basement. Dum-da-dum-da-dum. And this is gonna load down here. It's really dark, so I'm gonna turn on my Pip-Boy. This is my Pip-Boy Light mod. Now the shadows aren't perfect, but I love that it added shadows and it makes it act much more like a flashlight. Yeah, so I like it. Anyway, now we just sleep and it'll save for us. And then I don't want the exit save, so in order to not get an exit save, you just load up your Pip-Boy before you quit, and then you won't get, it'll say save and quit, and you say yes, and that will say, it says exit save is currently disabled. I don't like exit saves, I think they're glitchy. Anyway, once again, I'm going to fast forward, we're going to enable some more mods, but we'll pick up when I'm at the mod screen. Okay, now that we've accessed a workbench, you can enable basically everything else except chembench mods. You can probably you probably won't have any trouble at this point enabling your chembench mods, but you really, anytime you download a mod that messes with the chembench, you really should test them individually as you load them. Make sure that you're not going to have issues. I know that I don't with the ones that I have here, but I'm still going to wait until I access a chembench, not that one. I access a chembench before I actually enable any of them. So, all right, those are enabled, and then we're going to fast forward to the load that we had in our bunker. Okay, we've loaded back up. We have almost all of our mods enabled at this point. I'm going to get into the workshop here because I want to build a chembench. But I'm going to do one of the tiny little custom ones. Which is just a mat. Oh, but I don't have any supplies, so I believe there's supplies, a little bit of supplies around here. Is it enough to make a chembench, please? Yes, okay. I want to make, I'm just going to put it on top of this. Bang. Okay. So the custom crafting stations work, which is a workbench mod. Nothing seems to be glitching out. We seem to be pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to sleep again. Let's do that real quick. And it's going to give me another autosave, which is fine. And then I'm going to back out once again. And then I'm going to, one at a time, enable my chembench mods and then test them. Now, I'm not actually going to do that this playthrough because I did that the last playthrough, and I know that these chembench mods in this order work just fine. So let's zoom back to the mod load order list. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is the saving, because then we won't have to sleep every time. So saving, we turn that on. Now, ideally, I forgot to do it, but saving, I'm not actually going to craft anything for saving. It does add to the chem bench, which is why I put it down here, but I'm not actually going to build anything out of the chem bench for this mod. But really what you should do is access the chem bench first, and then come in and enable, just so that you have used a chem bench. That's kind of the idea behind it. Modding stuff that you haven't used or seen yet is a little sketch, so I don't run into problems for the most part with, at least with these mods, but that's sort of the rule of thumb. If you haven't found it yet, don't mod it. I know I just kind of demonstrated an entire system of ignoring that idea. But for me, this works. So let's zip back to our save real quick. Okay, and then you see those things got added to our Pip-Boy. Press to autosave, all of that. So now what we should do is open the chemistry station. Now, if you're going to use immersive Fallout, I wouldn't recommend doing these ammo crafting that's available on the chem bench. I do manufacturing overhauled or something like that, and then I have the manufacturing extended and all of that, the workbench extended, workshop extended, that allows you to craft ammo. I wouldn't use this. Every time I've used it, it's initiated that 0 kilobyte save error. But anyway, let's get out of that. So now that we've accessed the chem bench, we can go into our inventory, and that we've added the save function, we can actually just save our game. Press to save, requesting save, it's good. And then from here, all you would do is one at a time, drop out of the game here, load a chem bench mod, just one, load your save up, and then make sure that you can build it on the chem bench. I'm not going to go through one by one doing that on here. You get the idea. Now that we've accessed the chem bench, just one by one, back out of your game. I'll show you one. Okay, so what's next on our list here? Seems to be running smoothly. I'm happy this went smoothly. Vertebrate text servers. That's a perfect one. It's next in my list anyway. Let's enable it, and then we'll bounce back and open up that save we just made. Okay, so we're back in it. Let's go to the chemistry station here, and then vertebrate taxi service. So the signal grenade needs 9mm, it needs 10 of those. Do I have any of that in here? Shotgun shells. I have one. Okay, well, I guess I can't make one, but I can make the holotape, so let's just make sure that goes good. The settings, no requirements. Now, see, that seemed to build just fine. It didn't seem like the menu didn't seem to glitch out. I didn't get any pausing or anything, so that's good. That's good. That means that mod went well. And that's a successful test. So then from here, you would save it once again and on to your next mod. I'm not going to show you all of the chem bench mods, but that's what you do. You enable one, you go into your chem bench. You should probably bring some of your supplies with you so that you can actually craft the items like I didn't do. But that's it. Once those are all enabled, then you're good to go. You should save your game. Once everything's enabled and tested and running right, then you should probably back out and do like another system reset, rebuild, just to make sure that everything runs smoothly, because you did a lot with your memory here. And PS4 has memory problems. So we did a lot with that. Do a cache clear, and then rebuild your database, and then unplug it again. And then, like, until you want to add like another mod, you're good to go. This is a good thing for beginners. If you're going to continue to mod the game in the future, I would suggest really diving into that framework document that I left a link for. It's all over my channel. So if you can't find it for some reason, just look on like the main page of my channel or in the links section, in the about section on my channel. It's in there. But really study that if you want to learn how to do this better or more or whatever. Just Always be careful, especially with the PlayStation, because with that 0 kilobyte thing, this load order works for me. I'm not getting the 0 kilobyte. I'm not getting any conflicting mods. So really, that's the bottom line. If it's working and you're not crashing and you're not glitching, then everything's good to go. So that's the first sort of tutorial series I've done on here. I think I might do some more about actually some of the stuff that I build in the game and kind of what I do to accomplish all of that. Some of it's pretty neat, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just tooting my own horn here. Anyway, that's that, and I will see you guys next time.